Alcohol use disorder is one of the most misunderstood of all the diseases in the world, and it is a mental health disease. One of the reasons is because of all the abuse that it really permeates into families, into friends, into relationships that are around that particular disease and the person who succumbs to it. It is abusive. You have to deal with a lot of dysfunction and irregularities in one's life. It's very difficult, and it's very difficult not to take baggage away from that, not to take animosity and frustration and to have anger towards the person who is suffering, because it looks like a character issue when in fact the vast majority of people who are alcoholics or suffer from this, number one, it could be a hereditary issue on a chromosomal level. I'm going to get to that in a minute. There's ADH1B and ALDH2 that give somebody a predisposition to becoming an alcoholic. And then if you grew up in a normalcy where someone is immersed in the culture of drinking, it's normalized to drink, there's a high probability that you're going to have a problem later in life. This actually equates for about 50% of the people who do suffer from alcohol use disorder later in life. And some of the reasons why alcohol use disorder is really so misunderstood is because there are a lot of reactionary emotions. I mean, seriously, if you grew up when you had one or two parents that suffered from, alcoholism, alcohol use disorder, you're going to take a lot of baggage away from that. You may have been emotionally or physically abused, and it's very difficult not to take that personally. So as an adult, you really have to look back, and hopefully you'll get the kind of counseling so you can understand this. But the mental health illness that one or both of your parents had was not about you. It was something that they were going through. Their disease, their consumption of alcohol was their solution to whatever their emotional issue was. If they had repressed emotions, anxiety, stress, depression, or whatever it was their solution. You just happened to be in the way. And that's very difficult to separate. It's very difficult to have an objective understanding of the disease when you've been abused by the disease. It's the same thing with spouses. I mean, if you had a spouse and you have a shopping list of all the horrible things that they did, and that keeps running in your head in a movie, like my wife drove through the front of our house. We were on vacation and she smashed the toilet bowl and flooded out the room at a hotel room. She had 4 DUIs. She was arrested 4 times. They had multiple officers at our house looking for warrants. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And it's very difficult not to have animosity and anger for all these things that person has put you through. What you have to understand is it was never personal. It was something that they had going on with themselves. It was never about you. It wasn't because of you, and it wasn't about you. You didn't cause the problem. You didn't create it. And you're not going to solve it. You shouldn't be holding on to the guilt any more than if that person had heart disease or cancer. You can't take the cancer from them. You can't take the heart disease from them. You can create boundaries and give them a certain pathway and let them know that they can't cross the boundary into your world as an adult, but you can't solve their problem. You can't want something more for someone than they want it for themselves. Another important element is, and a lot of people don't realize this, and this is one of the alarming truths, is that there is no cure for alcohol use disorder. There is no cure. Okay, that's the bad news. The good news is that there's a high probability that a person can put it into remission if they work on themselves. And I've got many videos on what you need to do to work on yourself. It's about consistency. You need to get around community, connection, and consistently find something and things that resonate with you. If that means moving to a different environment, placing yourself around people who don't drink, and I mean, these are all things that person has to decide to do, but these are what it's going to take to get into remission and into recovery. And the thing is, if a person doesn't get it into recovery, they're facing certain deaths. They're going to lose about, on average, statistically, they're going to lose almost 30% of their life. For women that have been drinking since their teenage years, or for men who've been drinking since their teenage years, and the average alcoholic starts their career between the ages of 13 and 20, men will live between 47 and 53. This is statistically the average, okay? Some die earlier, some might make it to 70 or 80. Women, it's a little bit better, it's 53 to 58. Statistically, that's the average, that's the sweet spot that's for your life. So the average person is going to lose between 24 to 32 years compared to the rest of the population. The statistically, the averages of what a lifespan is for the rest of the population. It's pretty bleak. It's pretty bleak. That's why it's so important to get it into recovery, identify a person has a problem, and take action on that. And really, the last thing I want to say is that alcohol disorder is the absolute worst way to perish. I can't think of a worse way. I mean, watching my wife suffer from this for years, there is no other worse way to. It's not just going to affect your liver; it affects all your organs. It affects your heart, your pancreas, your kidneys, your intestinal tract, your esophagus, your skin, which is your biggest organ. It will prematurely age you. And there's a thing called Wernicke-Korsakoff, which actually gives you a form of alcoholic dementia. You have a B1 deficiency because your diet is atrocious, because you're getting all your nutrition through alcohol, which is no nutrition at all. I mean, it's like you're starving yourself. You're starving your body from nutrition, and it will affect your brain and your body. Horrible way to go. You lose yourself. You lose all respect for oneself, and you become a shell of what you once were. You could be a great, loving human being, and all of that is going to be dissipated away, unfortunately, because the alcohol takes that all away. I wouldn't wish it upon on anyone, and this is one of the big reasons why I have this page, is for awareness, education, and to bring this horrible disease out of the closet and to expose it for what it is. And again, the memoir of Amanda is called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. And again, it's on Amazon. It's also in the link tree. You can get it right on my website on this page right here. I also go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We have the Facebook group. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. Again, link is in the bio. And when you're ready to work with me one-on-one, I have a complete coaching program for you and your family. Looking for people who want to change their lives and the lives of their family. Again, link is in the bio. And again, thanks so much for listening.